Okay, hey everybody. Hope you're having a great Monday and you had a great weekend. I've been pretty good. I was really busy last week, so I'm sorry about having to miss a few streams, but I think this week should be better. Yeah, I had a pretty good weekend, although it was a little busy, so I don't feel like I had that much time off, but this means I'll need to relax a bit tonight, huh? But let's get into some programming first. So, let's see. Oh yeah, we were going to test hidden information. We wrote all the netcode last time, but we need to actually test it. And if you remember, we had a strange bug that the game couldn't load the XML files in a standalone player. And that had something to do with the encoding of the file, and even more confusingly, it wasn't actually the file format itself. So at the top of XML files, right here, a lot of these files had something that said like encoding equals Windows and some number. I don't remember exactly what it was. And I think that the game was just looking at that, and then it realized that it couldn't handle that encoding, even though the rest of the file was actually in UTF-8, which is what we want. So just by deleting those lines, it went ahead and worked. But if you encounter that problem, you can also do it this way, and you specify the encoding yourself. But yeah, so now if I play the game, that should go through perfectly. So let's go ahead and build the game. Yes. So it always takes a little longer the first run of the day, so we'll let it do its thinking. Almost there. Okay. So now if I we'll load this up. I think, yeah, right now our loading code is a little, our connection code is a little weird. I think the editor actually has to start first, and then quickly load this up. And yeah, we can see everything loaded correctly. And anything that says this Windows Player Snick PC is actually a debug from this editor, which is a really nice addition. Back when we were working on the chess game, we actually had to use the not as good log that would pop up right here, and it didn't show these smaller messages, so it's really nice. But now, well, let's see. Yeah, let me move. And then on this editor, if I choose gold. Okay, so everything goes through, and then we get these not implemented exceptions, but that's normal. But we can see everything worked perfectly. So we didn't actually test any hidden information because right now the games both know everything. So what we want to do is change the way the teams are built so that each client doesn't know about the stats of the other monster. I don't need this, do I? Yeah, it's obsolete, so I'll just go ahead and delete this. Because we completely implemented that. That was from a long time ago before we finished the ability selection. Let me go ahead and get rid of this as well. And then, so what we need to go is into the team build phase and the testing defaults creator. Really, so here where we set the stats, which right now we just copy the stats from the monster prototype. We need to check that if this monster is not owned by us, then we need to set this float value to unknown. So how do we actually... I think in order to do that, we just want to even include a value here in the save statistic. Okay, so yeah, we'll need to change this a little bit, I think. So log start monster. So we'll create the save monster, of course, but we just won't fill out any of its stats. Although, of course, in the future, even some things like the prototype wouldn't be known at this point. But we don't support finding hidden prototypes. But anyway, so let's see here. Okay, so we actually set this afterwards. So we should put that here. And then for each monster, we'll need to check if M is in start players, and then whatever client ID we are. So do we actually know that? Let's see here. So the networking, we have the local info, don't we? I'm trying to figure out where we set, like, what actual client we are. Okay, yeah, here's the client ID. So this, since this is testing, I'm not gonna worry about if we're disconnected or not. I'll just assume we're connected. But we need to get the local connection. Okay, that's... yeah, the namespace is a little messed up there, isn't it? This should... yeah, let's go ahead and fix this now. This should just be in the game logic namespace. There's actually quite a bit that use it. I'm not sure when I changed this, but I forgot to fix the namespaces. So let's do this real quick, it won't take that long. Yeah, used to this code used to be in the networking namespace, but it really didn't need to be separated out because these objects are used by just the base game. Okay, so now, yeah, this namespace doesn't work, doesn't exist. So now I think I can go through and find and replace this. So we want to replace it in entire solution. Oh. So we replace it with, I guess, a space. Okay. So let's check to make sure nothing bad happened in Unity. Okay, so now some of these are going to need me to use the networking namespace itself, which is fine. That's it, I guess. No, a little bit more. Yeah, since I messed around with the namespaces, I just got to go around and tell the classes where they can find that Unity Link class. Oops, I don't want to rename it. Okay, so I think that's all. Once it recompiles, we'll know for sure. Okay, so now let's go back to what we were doing. Here's what class I want, so I'll close everything else. Okay, so first let's get the local connection up here. I guess I don't really need an outside reference to it. Component. Okay, and so right here all I have to do is we'll go ahead and create the array, but we don't need to insert anything in here if this monster is not owned by us. So if log start players. Okay, well we can't really do contains. We because it's a array and not a list. So I'm just going to be a little lazy, and we'll just check to make sure that the first entry into the team array is this monster, because right now that's fine. Okay, so client ID dot team 0 equals m. Oops. So again, this is if this specific player owns this monster. We'll fill in the statistics, otherwise we just leave it as a blank array. And then here, yeah, we already did this a little bit, but here we can see that if the save stat is null, then we would actually just create an unknown statistic. So I'll uncomment this and we can adapt it. Okay. Why does it look up based on the name? Because isn't the stat... Okay, no, the stats aren't necessarily stored in order here, because we can't guarantee that the stats on each load are in the same order because of file load orders and things like that. So we actually do need to look up based on the name. And in that case... Well, we don't have to change, we just kind of need to change the way we do this. So for int s equals 0, s less than save monster stats links s plus plus, and then we check here if s or if save monster stats s equals null. Then we'll do something. I'll take care of that in a second. Otherwise, grab this. I guess I can pull this out. Okay, so maybe... Yeah, I think the best way to do this actually would be to kind of loop through the stats twice, and we fill them all with unknown first, and then for anyone that has an entry in the save stats, we'll insert that correctly. I think that's the way we'll have to do it actually. So int s equals 0, s or can we actually just leave it? Okay, well the statistic is actually, let me look. It's a structure, so that means everything is default, and known is false by default, so yeah, this should work. So I think, yeah, we don't have to set those unknown values because they'll be unknown by default, so really it's just if the stat and the save array is not null, we'll do this. Okay, so save stat equals save monster stats s, and then we just get the index and then we insert it into the list, and again the save set will enlarge the list so it's big enough to hold whatever index we set right here, so we won't get any out of bounds errors. And for right now we'll just pretend that we know all abilities because we don't support trying to get abilities from hidden information. Okay, so now let's just try and play it. I guess we could just go all the way through and see what happens, because both players will need to send a hidden information request in order to get their speeds. What happened? Oh, there it is, it just didn't show up. so let's start that and play. Is everything connected? And I'm gonna look here on the debug and we'll see what values the statistics have for the second monster. Okay, so the arrays are empty because we don't know anything, which is fine. And then let's look at the second monster here. And the stats has no name and then float 0. How come it doesn't show if it's known or not? Oh, because the save stat doesn't have that field. Okay, I guess we should add that, because as we see here, the game could interpret this as being a stat with no name and then a value of 0 instead of it being unknown. So I guess we will need to have a known flag, which is kind of redundant, but it's just because that's the way serialization works. Anyway, let's try and walk through a turn and see what happens. Okay, so there was an error. Unknown message 77. So script requested, stat speed. Okay, so something is requesting a message or trying to send to a message ID that doesn't exist, and I'm guessing it's here. Failed to find a local connection to invoke handler. Yeah, it's message ID 77, so I should look and see what that one is. I probably just forgot to instantiate a class on the server game. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and add the field to the save statistic. While I'm doing that, let me get a small drink. Alright. Okay, and then here I'm gonna make it a set known to true. Like I said, it's a little redundant, but sometimes, I mean, the default value of this could be taken as, again, being a statistic with no name, and we need to definitely distinguish between those possibilities. Okay, so now we need to check message ID 77. I'm not sure which one that is, but we can find out by looking at the enumeration down here. 79, 78. Okay, so hidden info value. First, I'll check that they actually I set up everything correctly. So this hidden information receiver. So this is a problem because the client shouldn't ever send this message. The client should only send messages that start with C. So I think I just did a typo there. Let me check to make sure that there's not a double of this. Yeah, so client send message C and then the server responds. Okay, so here, yeah, it's registering that it's the client. Yeah, it's gonna send on this channel, and then the server is registering a handler right there. And this is the one we just fixed. And then client, so the server registers a handler, and the client sends, and then here's the last one. The server sends, and then the client registers to receive. Oh, hey Storm, I'm doing great. How are you? So yeah, that's all good. So let's go ahead and recompile the game and hopefully everything should pan out correctly now. Oh, I did a little out of order, but I'm glad to hear you're doing great. Everything's still loaded okay, so that's good. Okay, so yeah, we got an error. Actions message mismatch, ordering error checker. Okay. I wonder, I would guess maybe the sorting is messed up. Here's one way we can see. Are the stats. Okay, so the float value is 0 here. And we know for sure that, it says that we know this value, but for some reason it's 0. Maybe I forgot to set it. And so of course that would make it so that the players have the wrong speed values for each other, which would make the actions be mismatched. You're talking to a girl, and I like, oh, that's always good to hear, Storm. I'm glad it's working out for you. Alright. Is it that same one that you were trying to learn German? Okay, so what do I need to do here? Oh, I need to look and see where we actually set the values, which... Was it here? Hidden info value receiver? Oh no, this is when we receive a request from the server. I guess it was this one. I should probably rename these because we had a little bit of a better naming scheme later. Okay, so here I insert it. Okay, so I guess the float value is 0? I guess I should debug it. So I'll do debug log error, because that'll make it show up in red so it'll be easier to see. I really need to clean up my debugs. It's getting a little crazy. Especially with 2 clients, but okay, so let's rebuild it. And now all that it should do is it should print out in red what the actual value of this statistic is. You know what? I should have printed the name here as well. Stream format, stats, value received. Let's see. Monster equals 2. So now we'll have the item, stat name, and the monster index, and then the float value. I need one more parenthesis there. Fortunately, I'm gonna have to rebuild it again because I just changed that. Oh yes, it's not showing up. So if I refresh, okay. Okay, so everything loaded fine. Okay, we got another error. Yeah. Oh, because we didn't change anything. Okay, we see stat speed on monster 1 equals 3. Yeah, that's interesting, but still here it shows the value as 0. Okay, so that means that something is happening between here. So battle monsters. Okay. Well, I think, yeah, the game makes sure that the value message item has the same monster index, doesn't it? So for the stat, we try to find stat index. Why does it create a new one? I'm trying to figure out what this does. So we get a message and then we find the fulfilled request for this item. But why do we create a new one? How's the game doing? Oh, pretty well. I'm just testing out, I call it hidden information, but basically it's when we had to go and ask for the other player's speed statistics so we can sort which player goes first. And there's a strange bug where even though we're getting the correct value, it's not being stored right. Oh, that reminds me, Storm, I couldn't load your model into the game because Unity apparently can't load a Maya file unless I actually have Maya on my computer. So I don't know if you can try to save it in a different format. Hi Tiladar, sure. Let me get the link real quick. Well, hopefully it won't be too hard to fix, Storm. You can try and save it as a .object folder. Oh no, we had to uninstall Maya. Okay, well, let me, I'll look into it later. Maybe I can figure out how to get it to work. Maybe I can, just for this, install a trial version of Maya and I'll change the format. Okay, so where was I? Oh, right. Trying to figure out why this is creating a new request here. Okay, shouldn't it look through the request and return the one that's actually used? That's what it does here. Find fulfilled requests. No problem, Tiladar. So maybe I'm just... Okay, I think I see what's going on here. We're just creating like a temporary request. I don't know why I do it this way. Alright, Storm, I'll let you know. Thank you. How many games have I made? Well, about a couple years ago, I did a game every month for a little over 2 years. I mean, they're kind of short little arcadey games, but if you count those, I probably made about 30. In terms of longer games, I've probably done about 4 or 5, but so basically what's going on here is I just create just a dummy instance of the request and then try to find the actual index here, and then I remove it. Okay, which I guess works, but it's a little weird. But okay, so I guess if we're going to actually use the fulfilled values, then I should print those here. So let's say fulfilled 3, 4. So it's the stat index and monster index. Let's see what that prints out. Yeah, if I made a lot a while ago. It's kind of, I mean, it was fun to be able to try out all kinds of different games, but after a while, trying to restrict yourself to just a month, there's only so many different things you can make. Like, there's no way I could make a game like this in a month. Okay, so let's play the game again and see. These values should match up, the fulfilled and the stat and the information we get back from the server. If they don't, then there's something wrong. Okay, so now we got speed on monster 1 and fulfilled is 3-1. Okay, well that's actually the same, they're just kind of reversed. Okay, but this is not the same. So on the other player, we got speed on monster 0 equals 2. Oh, well, it's fulfilled stat 3 on monster 1, so yeah, that's fine. And then stat, okay, so this is right, I was just reading it wrong. So it's stat 3 on monster 0. But then, how come here it's not reflecting the change? Because right here, there should be a 3 there, but it's a 0, obviously. I wonder, did the save monster update correctly? It did. But we didn't set known, because we didn't do that at the time. Okay, so here I should also set save stat.known is true. Okay, so something obviously must be wrong with this from float value or the safe set. So let's make that clear. Capital F just to be proper. So I guess we should print out something else here. The speed is temporary, just to read back this value. Okay, and this will be safe get. And then we'll read the float value from that. Let's see what this gets, because this will tell us if for some reason the value is getting deleted sometime after we set the value right here. And this is why it's annoying to have to test with 2 clients, because we have to build both of them before we do anything, but unfortunately it's the only way to test this hidden information. Oh, I actually still have this running. Okay, and then we just pick our moves again. Okay, so monster on 0-2 fulfilled 3 on 1, and then the stat is still 3 at this point. Why didn't it print out here, I wonder? That is a little weird. Let's open the log file. Oh, there's gonna be a ton of stuff in here. Okay, so actually, the client received an error you can see from our log file. Well, maybe... Oh, well, of course it did because... Yeah, we just can't see it here because I had messages off. That's again just because of the actions message mismatch. So if I look up, it might not be possible to find. I have too many debug messages. Okay, so I wonder if it's just Unity causing an issue and not actually them not being the stats not being stored. Let's try to print out in the actual Lua script because that's like where the statistics are actually being used. So where would that be? So right here we request the the speed stat, and then we insert it into this table here. So we'd want to print out information about the stat right at this point. So let's see. Forget Lua's string format syntax. Let me look it up. I know it's a little different. Yeah, it has to be in here somewhere. Oh, I think I just skipped it. It's right down here. Yeah, string format. So you start everything with a number sign. Or not number, a percent sign. Okay, so string dot format stat s equals, let's go to 2 decimal points. Is that correct? Okay, I do have to put an F at the end for a floating point number. Okay, and then we'll just give it the stat name and stat value. Oh, I just have a tendency to type state because we used to use that so much. Okay, so let's see what this prints out. We actually don't need to run it again because we only changed code in Lua. Or compile it again, I mean. Oh, got an error. Must have been a syntax exception. Expected a parenthesis. Oh, I thought I typed another one. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Okay, so now it loaded. Oh yeah, this is player 2. So it controls the silver one, of course. Okay, so it works the same. We need to scroll back up to find the Lua print. Okay, that's not... Okay, so stat speed equals 0. So at this point, speed is 0. Oh, we can also see here the Lua yielded silver stat speed equals 0, so something is going wrong by that point. Even though we read the value as 3 at this point. Okay, so let's go look. Let's just follow the trail. The asynchronous controller. So here we check if the request is filled, and if it's a stat, we check if it's known. Battle monsters, and if the known value is true, we return just whatever that is. Okay, so that is fine. I don't see any issues there. So what happens next? So we get a dynamic value creating the Lua response. And then we call script. Is that correct? Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. Stat, Lua response stat. Oh. Yeah, so that's kind of silly of me. I actually get the stat here. Oh, this is the, this is actually fine because that's the Lua registry statistic. So let's see how this works. So monster stat. Stat's known. Okay, so for some reason this is correct. But for some reason it's not giving the right float value. So let's see, when is this? Okay, so this value is printed out. Oh yeah, right here. So yeah, this is kind of redundant, but it's fine. Or these two prints are redundant. So as soon as right here we know the stat is 0. So how about right here before we print is known? Okay, let's change this around a bit. We'll go ahead and print out the float value at this point so I can know what it is. Okay, I'm not going to worry about recompiling the second player because we only changed debug print. Oh, wrong key. Okay, yeah, so everything's the same. Let's go find that print. Okay, so sometime between here and then when we actually look it up, we get a 0. But everything else is fine. Like, it has the right monster, it has the right stat. But the value is wrong, so I don't know why that's changing. I mean, and we see yeah, so this backs us up because yeah, for this stat 3, which we know is speed, we know it says it's known, so something's being changed, but the value is not sticking, even though it's correct right here. So maybe I should just check and see where this stat is changed. So yeah, we're gonna just need to look through here and find any values. Is this the issue? Monster stat response updater. I'm not even sure when this runs. Okay, so yeah, this... Okay, I guess I forgot about writing this class, because here we can see for some reason I set the statistic to 0, which is a little weird. Yeah, the request doesn't include the value. Yeah, so I don't need this class at all. I guess the idea was I was trying to separate out the stat response, like actually setting the value from the class that receives it from the server, which I guess I could still do. Is that a good idea that's worth the extra overhead? So let's see. Yeah, I even have this message. I guess I just totally forgot about it. Okay, so really I shouldn't send out the hidden info request. I should send out the hidden info value message, and then some other class will just deal with it. That's probably a good idea, because then I can have separate classes to store each type. So yeah, so what was happening is we were calling this store received value, and everything was fine here, but then right afterwards we called this response received method, and then that called this, which I some reason just set to 0, but then it write a reminder. So yeah, that wasn't very smart of me because I've slept since I wrote this, but whatever. Okay, so now we just need to pull this code out. But first I should change this to actually send the message. Well, I think the idea behind it was that the idea behind this message, I think, was that somebody could hold on to this request that they originally sent out, and then when they receive this response, they'd know that their request was complete, and then they could find the information stored in the correct area. which would make this object just completely not needed. I can decide if I like that idea or not. Okay, well, one good thing is that this also restricts getting new stats during these two phases, because stats shouldn't be changing otherwise. Probably should be like that for all of them, really, but... Okay, I think, yeah, what I'll do is we just won't need this class anymore. And if for some reason I see that this class is getting too large, we can separate them out again. Okay. So now everything should just work because we deleted that code that set the value back to 0. But we'll leave this around in case. Because like I said, I originally envisioned it as like letting other objects know that their request is complete, but not that they actually need to set the value themselves. Okay, so I'm gonna... Well, no, I'll keep this, but I'll just change it to a normal log instead of an error. Okay, so let's, now we definitely need to recompile everything. And hopefully we'll get the same action list for both. Is it done now? Yeah, there's some error. Oh, it's because I need to delete that. I think that was a leftover from when the stat requester was really bare bones. It didn't actually request anything, and it just waited a second to tell you the value. Let's move that here. Okay, there it goes. Okay. And again, just the same thing as always, pick the move action. Okay, and everything worked perfectly. Let's see, can we see the action list just to look? Okay, so now we see this, we know the speed value for each monster, finally. And we have the board, that's not interesting. Okay, so I don't actually store the actions anywhere, just a selection list. But okay, it is actually stored here in the save log. Yeah, so now we know the speed of that monster. That's good. So action monster, or player 1 and monster 1 moved to 20, and monster 0 and player 0 moved to this. So everything looks fine. Alright. That actually was pretty painless. We just had that one silly error. Okay, so we're done with that. Okay, so here's like some more cheat detection. So, I mean, there's nothing really stopping a player from sending back a message that they have a speed of 999. So we probably need a little bit of cheat detection. The only issue is the game doesn't like have a way to tell like what reasonable stats would be for each. So I think that we should leave this up to mod authors to try and make as sophisticated cheat detection as they want. So it'd basically be a Lua function for the stat cheat detection, and kind of similar for these. So, well, actually not. So this is when we actually get back selections from the server. I mean, we can't really trust the server. That the host could be cheating, and they could change our selection to something we don't want. So we need to, like, if we send selections to the server, we need to make sure that they actually, what we get back matches what we actually sent, and same with actions. So I guess we can look at them real quick. Basically, yeah, this will be an easy script. It'll be something that we'd want to not allow to be asynchronous, because I mean there's no reason. And these don't rely on scripts, so they're pretty simple. So let's try and knock these out quickly. Might be able to do it in 30 minutes, I don't know. Sana's dope, yeah, I agree. It's really good for project management. Okay, so where would we start with this? I guess it'd be the hidden info value receiver, wouldn't it? So right here, before we actually set this value, we would want to ask a Lua script if it's a good value or not. And where would we store that function? I guess it would be in the framework mod, which generally contains global functions for the entire game. And it's free, yeah, that's correct. It's really a good value. Actually, I never thought about it like that. So, we got table of contents, we'll add it here. String. Should I probably, I guess it could just be stat cheat detector function. That's probably okay. And then I'll need to also store it in the database. So closure is again just what Moonsharp calls a Lua function for us to call, or detector is what I should call it. I guess I'll put func at the end to be consistent. And so now we just need to go a little bit into the loading pipeline and edit this a bit. I was trying to figure out why these files were modified, but I think it's because we edited that namespace at the beginning of the stream. But anyway, it's the mod load manager. And right here, when we get framework, we would just request to load a Lua function right here. Oops. So stat cheat detector. Okay, so that's it for that. Do I make games for a living then? I have started this year to try my hand at it. So my first commercial game should come out in a few months, I hope. Okay, so now we need to go to Asset Organizer. so yeah, we'll just add a little line right here to store that function. So the framework mod and framework table of contents, stat sheet detector. Okay, so that's it for that. So what do we want to actually do? I find it's easiest for Lua functions to start by writing the function. So let's call it testing of stat sheet detector. So we'd probably get, I guess, args. That's usually how I call it. So I used to C#, I was trying to do brackets. You don't need to do that in Unity. So let's just pretend that for now stats are bounded between 1 and 10. So if it's more than that, then we'll throw an error. So what this should have, so the arg shouldn't be an actual statistic class because the statistic hasn't been stored yet. So it'd have something like the monster, and then the stat name, and then what value that we would set. So basically for here we want, we'll just return args value greater than or equal to 1 and value less than or equal to 10. So this will just be our very simple function for this. So now we need to create that new object that will send to the function in the Lua interface. And we can just call it the stat sheet detector args. Yeah, it will need to be public because the class outside of here will have to create it. Okay, and again, for Moonsharp, you need to tag all functions you want to actually use in Lua with this tag Moonsharp user data. And like always, I'll hide the constructor with Moonsharp hidden. Cheat detector args. Oh, I don't need to have a void right there. And so here again we'll have the monster. And then Moonsharp hidden set. I'll do something similar for all the other values. So monster, what else did I say? Oh yeah, the stat name. So I don't actually want to send a stat object because we haven't actually created that yet. We're going to create it if this returns true. And then, okay, so this shouldn't be a float, it should be a dynamic value because statistics might be able to contain strings. Okay, so that's it. What part of Texas am I from? I live around Houston. It's been extremely hot lately, but so I shouldn't complain too much. Okay, so I think this is it. So let's make the class that will actually call this Lua file for us. I'm going to go ahead and create a new file namespace here for Lua callers because I created a bunch of them, and as you can see, the play namespace is getting very big. I don't think I'll worry about Oh, I really should do it, huh? Otherwise things are gonna get quite messy if I have some of the Lua colors in the namespace and some not. I don't know if there's an easy way that I can like transfer namespaces or yeah, for an object. Seems like something that could happen. Okay, so stat cheat detector. Now we don't have to put Lua color at the end of them either. Oh, you're up in Dallas. I lived in Dallas for 4 years when I went to school. It's also a nice city. The weather is much nicer than Houston in my opinion, but when is the ETA on beta for the game? That's a good question. I'm not really sure at what point I want to release it is the problem. Probably sooner rather than later, because even if the graphics aren't all looking nice, people can test the mods. So probably a couple months. I don't know, maybe sooner. Okay, so like I said, let's do that. Okay, it didn't make it easy for me. Let's see, might take a long time, I don't know why. So I just need to add Lua colors right here. So I'm just looking for any other ones, because like I said, I don't want to just move a couple of them, that's kind of messy. Should I put the async request in there? Probably. I have a couple others. Right here, a new turn. Oh, come on, you can do it. And I think there's a player sort. Which I thought was right there. Maybe it's called sort players. Okay, where is it? Right here. I think that might be all. Okay, so get targets, usable, turn, sort players, stat sheet. Okay, I do have. Oh no, that's it, I think. Okay, so now I just need to go back through here and add the correct namespace. Don't know why it's not turning those yellow. Okay, so yeah, that's enough messing with namespaces for now. And I'll go ahead and it'll be a little different because most of these other calls are asynchronous. But I'll go ahead and copy this class to use it as a base so I don't have to type everything out again. And we will want these interface structures. Okay, yeah, we will need the registry to get the Lua monster. Do I have a daytime job right now? Yeah, that's when I work on my commercial game and also do like software contracting and things like that. So yeah, basically I program all day. But on stream is when I work on this other project just for fun. Okay, so stat cheat detector, Lua call result, and Lua call parameter. So what would I send here? The result, I guess it would return obviously true or false, so Boolean, what do I want to call this? Success, I guess. And then we'll want to send int for the monster index and the stat name, or the stat index actually. It hasn't been officially announced yet, Tuladar, the game I'm working on. But as I said, it's not too far off, so hopefully I'll be able to talk about it soon. Okay, and also the parameters will need to include the actual value, which for now we'll just assume it's a float. Okay, so this also won't be messages. It'll be a query, which basically is a message that also returns something. But I don't actually need a reference to that here, or I don't need to save a value. So let's get rid of these messages. Yeah, because we don't have asynchronous scripts and we don't need to send something back separately. So it's controller, claim, query. And then I just need to update these object types here. Again, delete that. Okay, so I have the stat cheat detector args, which is what we'll actually send to Lua, and the monster. Okay, I called it a little different, but it's basically the same. And then the name is database stat name map. Oh, it's the other way around. Stat names parameters dot stat index, and then the value is, well, we have to do a dynamic value equals new. Oh wait, I think you just use static constructors instead of the new keyword. From float? Oh, it's new float, our new number. Okay, so that's all set up. Can you ask if it's a big studio or something just me and a group of friends are doing? It's just small for now. It's actually just me and an artist friend and a couple other people helping with administrative things. Okay, so now since we're going to call this Lua script, we're going to need to assume responsibility for catching errors. So I want to... Yeah, so just a runtime exception that can happen. Okay, I have a double try catch. That's no problem. We don't have any special globals, so I don't even need to have a finally clause. So we can delete that. We'll colors are all messed up. So yeah, if there's a runtime exception, we would just throw something new here. So this would be is that really all we have to do? Oh, well, the reason we do that is, yeah, I guess that we'll just use this same enumeration because that's what the async handler does. And then we'll send along the Lua message right there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why all the colors are messed up, it's not updating. So return value, just to make this simple, let's have new nil right there. And then the return value will equal database stat cheat detector, and then we send the Lua arguments. Oops. Huh. Well, it doesn't really matter, it's just strange to see the colors not update. So we send the arguments and we'll get back the return value from Lua, which we want to be either true or false. I don't know. This here we also let you return a string, but I don't know if that's really needed. So if the return value is not null, then we look through here. We should create the result class right away. Oh. Yeah, I'm editing the wrong script right here. Okay, thank goodness for undo. That's a bit of a pain. I'm going to close that so I don't do that again. Alright, I'll remember what I typed, it's not that complicated anyway. Dynamic value, new nil, and then try, catch, script, runtime exception, and then we'll just throw a new play exception. And if you're new to the stream, these exceptions are the types that are sent to the server to let them know that something went wrong and the game has to stop. That's why we don't just rely on the script runtime exception itself. And then the return value is just database stat cheat detector func call, and then we pass the Lua arguments. Okay. Yeah, but I did copy this for a reason because we're actually going to use this code. So the return value is not null. Okay, so this is where I had the issue. I need to create the result here. Monster index equals the parameters dot monster index and the stat index. Just pass those along. Okay, so if it's Boolean, then basically we can set the result to whatever's in there. Result success equals return value Boolean. Okay, and if it's any other data type, we'd want to throw an error. And also, if the return value is null, I don't know how that would happen, but I guess we should be careful and also throw an error there. Okay, so this will be stat cheat detector illegal return. I guess I'll put script in there. Don't need the break. Thank you for reminding me, Visual Studio. And then also copy that down there. Okay, so I think that's it. And then we'll just return the result. And I don't need this entire function. So pretty simple. And then the play subcontroller. Yeah, there's an error because I need to have it use the new namespace I created. But then this will be the stat cheat detector. Okay, so let's load up Unity. There's going to be a bunch of errors because of the namespace, but they'll be easy to fix. All I really need to do is just say using Lua callers. Oh, I don't want to generate constructor though. Could always just press Control plus, but I never got used to the hotkeys in Visual Studio. Oh, let's try it now. Why not? Oh, it's not working. Just a couple more. Don't encapsulate the field. That's been fixed, Unity. Is that it? Okay, yeah, looks like it's done. Let's clear that. Okay, so now I need to register this in the table of contents, and we should be good to go. So stat cheat detector function. Oops, I forgot the slash. And oh yeah, I'm gonna modify the game so that it doesn't need a second player to run anymore. And by that I just set the second player to AI. So now I can control it. And obviously should run all the way through. Oh, it's sending a hidden information request, which is not going to work. Okay, that is a little... Okay, I'm going to need to test that. Figure out how to test that. But actually, yeah, there's nothing to test yet because I forgot to hook up the code to actually, what's it called? Call the Lua, which is the whole reason I was doing it. Okay, so let's close these files. This is a good song, but a little too much for me right now. Okay, right, so it's the hidden information value receiver. I guess this is right here. So I'll need to get the query. And yeah, I don't want to type out all these long structure names, so I'll just copy and paste. Oop. Do I? Oh yeah, because I'm gonna call this one, so I'll just call this stat cheat detector equals controller use query, and this is how we will get a handle on this function. And we do have some new people, so I don't know. Probably they haven't seen me use this query before. But the reason I do this instead of calling the object directly, or this function directly, is because it helps separate all the objects, which you call decoupling. And that just makes each object kind of be plug and play, because this class doesn't really care where this function is implemented. So it really helps in debugging and I guess, what's the word? Modifying the game down the line if needed. So yeah, now all I have to do here is we'll call the script. I guess first, well no, we don't want to set it yet. Trying to decide if I want to call the script before or after I debug or log that we receive this message. So the call parameters, we just need to send the monster index equals monster index. It's pretty simple. And then the value is what's in the item. Success. Okay, I forgot to put the if at the beginning. It's a bit of a weird if statement. Yeah, let's not do that. So we'll get a value to the result right here. Or what's the word? Reference. If results.success, oh, it's not going to help me type it out. Oh, it's because it didn't give me the right thing I was expecting there. Success. And then we'll do all of this. So I guess I should put a debug log, success or not. Looking to use your commercial game as a platform to launch a studio? Well, that would be ideal. But I'm just hoping we'll probably make a few small games, and then as we pick up momentum we'll move on to bigger and bigger ones and see what happens from there. Okay, so let's print something here. Oop. Oh, I was afraid I lost connection, but just the music video froze for a second there. Not that. Unity engine, debug log, stat, cheat detection, I guess past. Okay, so I'm a little over, but I want to try to test this. Hopefully it will work. First try, let's cross our fingers. Oh, I said build and run, but that should be okay. something wrong. So the client was refused. Did I not update this right? Okay, let's try this one more time. It was telling me that the lobby was full, but it says right here it should accept 2 players. Build failed with errors. No errors are showing up right here. Oh, it's because I still have this open. I forget it doesn't like it when I do that. Although I guess it makes sense. Okay. Wait until the editor starts running. Now I'll load this up. Okay, so now everything connected. I don't know what happened the first time, but whatever. And I'll move that here. Okay, and it went all the way through. So let's look and see that the cheat detection was accepted. 3, that's fine. Zooming script, stat speed. Okay, let's when would this show up actually? Yeah, so when we receive. Okay, Tulador, yeah, I'll read it after the stream. Okay, yeah, here, stat cheat detection passed. Which is what we wanted to see. Obviously everything's between 1 and 10, so that's fine. I guess we should test an actual cheat, but I'm out of time, so I'm gonna do this real quickly. Okay, let's just say the request receiver just will always return 100. I'll need to definitely remember to fix this before I quit the stream, or I'll run into another weird issue like we had before. Okay, so this will obviously trigger the cheat detection, and they actually won't run the second player, or won't recompile the second player, because then only the editor will return the bad values. So what should happen if I've calculated everything is here. Okay, well, it did kind of work, although I forgot to throw an error, which is why the game just froze there instead of actually dealing with it. I don't really want this class to throw errors though. Okay, I'll just do it for now. I mean, yeah, maybe I should have separated this out into a separate class now that I think about it. Message, claim. What is it? Play exception. Oh yeah, well I really gotta go. We can finish this up probably tonight. And tomorrow, let's see. Let me write a note so I don't forget to do this. So I'll do that quickly later on. We already know it works because the game actually froze, it just didn't throw an error, which is basically the same thing. But thanks everybody for coming by and watching, I really appreciate it. I'll be live again tomorrow at about 8:30 Eastern, so feel free to follow if you want to be notified. Also, I just started a new Discord a couple weeks ago, so if you're interested in chatting with me, other viewers, and developers, feel free to join by checking my channel description or typing !Discord in chat. We're pretty small right now, so anybody interested would be really nice. And also, if you missed any streams, I do upload everything to YouTube, which you can find in my channel description or typing !YouTube in chat. And this stream will be up in the morning tomorrow. So yeah, once again, thanks everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. And have a great night. And I'll read your message, Tiladar. And yeah, hope to see everybody tomorrow. Alright, bye bye.